I've been having this dance with my son, who's 16 years old and has autism, for 17 years, if you count when he was inside of me. And we have expanded tremendously because of this back and forth relationship that we've had. That's been very beautiful.
What's the predominant thing that he has taught you?
Oh my, where do I even begin? I found my husband because of him. I found my career because of him.
Well, but what has he taught you? What do you know because of him?
I know that well-being always abounds. I know that he is perfect without being like everyone else. I know that everybody is perfect without being like everyone else.
Big, isn't it?
My son was very, very sick when he was little, and I went on a quest to find answers for him to help him feel better, because he screamed from the moment he woke up until he went to bed. I was the predominant caregiver and with him most of the time, and I can't help but wonder if that experience that he put us both through was purposely for my expansion.
Well, we would say no, for sure, no, for sure, no, for sure. For sure. But he was acclimating into, and we want to say this to you gently, hostile vibration. And we only say that because hypersensitive, pure positive energy, being born into a physical environment, when you're hypersensitive to it, that's really what that is about. How long was it that way?
Until about 2 years ago, for about 14 years. It wasn't until I started to release resistance.
So that's what we were talking about, the hostile environment, meaning an environment that asks the impossible to happen. Be different than you are.
Yeah.
So once you made peace with what is,
right,
then the hostile environment, and we're using that term really loosely just so that you can hear it, but the exaggerated contrast subsided.
Then I can't help but feel a bit guilty for his
pain. Well,
pain.
Don't do that, because you'll just make another hostile environment. In other words, it doesn't matter what the reason for your negative emotion is. It is a vibrational frequency that someone sensitive to energy has a hard time with.
So
you see, when you come forth intending not to focus in a very strong way, and your society insists that you do anyway, then that's where the shouting comes in.
Right.
So now, in light of that conversation, what is a significant thing that your son taught you?
That I have no control over others.
And therefore, it is to my advantage to
let go.
Make peace with what is.
So
here's the thing that we really want you to hear, because there are a lot of people, not necessarily in this room, but there are a lot of people on the planet who, if they were to hear someone say what we just said, they would say, what do you mean, make peace with what is? We should be striving for an improved life. We should be striving for things to be better for someone with autism or someone with something unwanted. And we say, oh, well, you can't stop doing that. In other words, you're asking for it. In other words, contrast is causing you to ask. And it's being given. And by making peace with what is, you allow what you've asked for that has been given to be. But here, feel the difference. When you've asked and it has been given, and you keep asking, and it's been given, and you keep asking, but it's been given, and you keep asking because you can't see it, because you're not looking where it is, you're looking where it isn't, then you hold yourself in discord to what has already become, and that makes you cry.
I laugh a lot more now. I see the relationship that my current husband, his stepfather, has with my son. where my current husband completely and 100% always accepts Joey for who he is. And
for who he is. Now, for who he is, for who he is.
For who he is without me wanting to I'm always wanting to change
him.
Well,
that's why you said for who he is. In other words, he accepts, what you just said, it sort of slipped out. He accepts the less than adequate Joey. Is that his name?
Yes.
Joey. And that's why we're playing with you a little bit. He doesn't accept the less than who he is. He knows the all that he is.
Oh, yes.
He's not putting up with something inferior. He's benefiting by something that is.
Yes. That's exactly right.
So what's another thing that your son has taught you?
And as I find to be his primary responsibility...
Whose?
I still feel responsibility to him, to Joey, because I have to make sure that he's bathed and that he's fed well and that he doesn't run away and that he has a proper school education. And yet I want to let go, but yet I still feel...
Talk to us about 2 years ago, what shifted, what behavioral change you saw.
Joey had 50 food allergies. He was allergic to everything under the sun, everything. He would scream with the slightest of these food infractions. And I decided that I wasn't going to keep letting that hold me back from traveling. So I started to take him to travel. And as soon as I booked the reservation, we found out he lost one by one. And by the time we actually took the cruise, he had lost all of his food allergies. So
the food allergies were never real?
No.
They were resistance allergies?
Correct. Exactly. Exactly. And when I take him, and he'll be on the Mexico cruise, but when I take him, I still, I have not let go of wanting to make sure that he doesn't embarrass his sisters or upset somebody else's day.
Well, you can't control that.
I know.
You better let go of that, or you'll have some resistance allergies. In other words, how are you going to control that? In other words, how are you going to control that? And isn't it their problem? In other words, if somebody's bothered by somebody, don't they have a I'm bothered problem? And doesn't this blessed being now give them an opportunity to expand in some new way? In other words, isn't that what we've been saying already? What he has come to help everyone understand is that I come different because you're so used to making everybody conform so that you can feel better. So I just thought I'd show up in a non-conforming way, so that if you want to feel better, it's your job, not mine.
Yes.
So wouldn't you like to help him out there?
Yes.
In other words, wouldn't you like to say, if you went to the trouble of being born this way, I think I can go to the trouble of going along with it.
Okay. As I teach others, and I recently started a website, Autism Law of Attraction, because I'm trying to teach others, parents, how to let go and have a resource. The continual feedback I'm getting from parents is, how can I possibly...
The continual feedback you get back from parents is, I care so much what other people think. And I can't let go of caring what other people think. And I can't control what other people think. And I care what they think, and I can't control what they think, and I care what they think, and I'm exhausted because I can't control what they think, and I care what they think. And I don't want my son to have a hard life, and yet he's going to be out there behaving in a way that other people are going to give him a hard time, and I can't fix that, and it's driving me out of my mind. So what could you possibly give them?
But there's more, because there's the in the house, not anyone cares what anyone else thinks, because it's just in your house, and listening to your child scream from the second they wake up until they go to bed and bang their head and bite their arm.
Is that still going on?
For my son?
Yes.
When he's out of the vortex, he bites his arm.
Well,
but no, it's way better.
In other words, if somebody presses a pillow to your face, don't you claw for your oxygen? Don't you scream for it? Don't you want it? And so if someone is hypersensitive to the vortex, And that's the label we're giving him. If he's hypersensitive to the vortex, he's in greater pain than most of you who have toughened yourself to being out of the vortex. That's the only difference really worth mentioning between your son who has been labeled with autism and others who have not been, is that he is sensitive to being out of the vortex and expresses his sensitivity, while everyone else you've been able to say, don't behave that way. I know you don't like it, but the world doesn't revolve around you. And I know you don't want to do this, but you're going to do it because I say you're going to do it. And on and on and on it goes. In other words, all that control that he was born apart from. In other words, he left his ability to be socialized out of the equation so that he could be free. And the point that he's wanting to make from that non-physical perspective is, don't you think it would be nice if people could be free without having to give up their ability to socialize in order to make the point? That's really what he's when we keep saying, what else have you learned? What else have you learned? What else have you learned? That's really the big point. Hey, I went way out of my way to be unsocializable, so that you all would understand the fallacy in socializing everyone. So the big question is, how can we as humans socialize in a co-creative way without giving up who we really are? And the answer is simpler than any are able to hear. Stop caring what they think and care what this thinks. In other words, let your guidance come forth from within. Don't try to harmonize with that one and that one and that one and that one and that one. It's really an interesting thing to watch you all in your socializing process anyway. First, you meet your mother, who loves you mostly unconditionally. And if there's someone else in the house, the two of them are usually not really completely in harmony with each other. But then you all sort of adjust to one another. But then we're talking about people in the normal socialization process, then you go to school, and now you've got to harmonize with this teacher who knows where she came from, and who knows how life has treated her, and who knows whether she's in the vortex or not, and she's got all these rules and requirements backing her up, and right away, in just about as strong a way as your parents have done before you got to school, she's got a whole other layer of lists of things that she is now requiring of you before she will wholeheartedly appreciate you. And she will line you all up and compare you one to another and give you grades of how well you conform. And the better you conform, the better grade you get. And the less well you conform, the worse grade you get. And she will teach you your appreciation or lack of appreciation of yourself through her eyes. If you get D's and E's and F's, you'll come to loathe yourself like she loathes you, because you represent the failure in her ability to control. And after all, isn't that what teaching is? Controlling.
Do I not want to teach my son?
Oh, well, no. You want to teach. Now, that description of teaching is an outside the vortex, needing to teach in order to conform, in order to control the conditions so that I can feel good when I see the results. Now, did you follow all of that? Mm-hmm. If I can control my students or my world, if I can control behavior, then I've got a better chance of feeling good. And everyone knows how much I want to feel good. And we're putting that teacher in the place of almost everyone. In other words, I want to feel good, so I have to control conditions so that I feel good. So I'll grade you on your ability to be controlled. And it really, my success in life depends upon my ability to convince, coerce, demand compliance from others. So now, whole legions of energies are coming forth uncontrollable. It's freaking teachers out. I mean, a lot of them are not even labeled as autistic, and they're uncontrollable. Mm-hmm. They're just coming with antisocial behavior, which isn't antisocial behavior, it's love me unconditionally behavior. But hardly anybody has the capacity to love unconditionally. Almost everybody's placed limits and conditions on how much they will love. And of course, everyone wants the A, which means I've learned to jump through the right hoops. when someone's watching anyway.